Is manual CPC still dead in 2026? That's exactly what we're going to discuss today. Now, I got this really cool comment, this banger of a question here from Arian Media, I think it is. If I'm butchering your name, I'm sorry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read it out to you guys, and then we'll discuss a little bit about manual CPC, when you should use it and when you should completely avoid it. All right, so he says over here, hello, great video. My question is, do you still use manual CPC in 2026? I want to use it, but all over YouTube, people are using the term that manual CPC is dead. But when I read official Google documents, it's just a strategy for advanced users that want control. That's all the Google official documents say. So his question is, can we still use manual CPC in 2026? Now, I've made a whole bunch of notes about this because I know I'm going to go off on a tangent and I don't want that to happen. But the first thing that I'm going to say is, if you're thinking about using manual CPC and you see all of these videos that say manual CPC is dead, the first thing you need to realize is not every single piece of Google Ads advice is for you and for your business. All right. So I'll give you an example. There are certain things that you should implement if you're spending $10,000 on ads. You should definitely do those things. But if you're spending $1,000 or maybe $2,000 on ads, if you implement those same things, they'll completely destroy your Google Ads account. So at every single different level, there's a different set of advice that works. There's no advice in Google Ads that's just going to work on all levels, except for, of course, like maybe use a landing page, do retargeting, focus on phrase match or broad match, exact match, maybe not in 2026. Those types of things you can broadly apply to all Google Ads accounts. But in this specific case, I want you to think about three types of businesses. You might have a business that's spending from $0 to $3,000. I like to call this the survival zone, right? Then you get another set of business owners that are spending $3,000 to $10,000 per month on ads. Completely different group of business owners. And this video, or these videos where you see manual CPC is dead, those YouTubers are usually agencies and they are working with big ad accounts, right? So if you tell me you want to spend $30,000 on ads, I'm not going to tell you to use manual CPC because I think that's a completely wrong strategy for you. Even if you go to Aaron Young's website, he's like one of the leading Google Ads guys, you'll notice that he only works with businesses spending from $5,000 up to $75,000 and onwards from there. So you have to understand this one thing. We use manual CPC on accounts that are spending like $0 to $3,000 per month. We get amazing results. We reduce their cost per lead tremendously. If those accounts decide that they want to spend more, I'm not still going to use manual CPC. So what I'm going to do is, in this video, is I'm going to discuss with you when to use manual CPC. I'm going to give you a couple of examples of when to use manual CPC. And we're also going to talk about the gray area. So stick around for that. If you're spending maybe, I don't know, $100,000 on ads, you still might want to watch this video because the gray area is a pretty interesting topic of discussion. All right, so first of all, let's talk about the drawbacks of manual CPC. If you use manual CPC as a bidding strategy, you are going to get no data whatsoever. Every single AI, every single algorithm, every single LLM, every single piece of machine learning is just based on pattern recognition. When you use manual CPC, you don't get any data. So in other words, it doesn't get better and better over time. That's one of the bad things about manual CPC. Another really bad thing about manual CPC, and Darren Taylor touched on this when we had a podcast discussion. I'll link it down below because we actually had a back and forth little mini debate over manual CPC, is you're going to miss trends. So I'll give you an example. If Google knows that in the summertime, People are buying a specific thing and it knows that retailers will pay more for that specific keyword, but you're on manual CPC and you're only willing to pay $2 and all of your competition is willing to pay $8 during that time, you're completely going to miss that trend. You're completely going to miss out on sales that you would have gotten because your manual CPC is limiting you from entering those auctions. However, if you want to control your cost per lead, it's a completely different story. So those are the two drawbacks. It's you're not going to get any conversion data, so your ads are not going to get smarter over time. And number two, you're going to miss out on trends, okay? So those are the bad things about using manual CPC. The good things about using manual CPC is you have full control over your cost per lead. And this is where I think a lot of business owners are who are in the $0 to $3,000 range. You don't have $1,000 to spend on a lead. You don't have $2,000 to figure out if your ads work. You're trying to control your ads so that you can get leads in a cost-effective way and so that you can keep on running your business. If that is you, then manual CPC is definitely for you if you're operating on that low range. Using manual CPC, we've taken clients' cost per lead down by 86%. We've managed to scale accounts using manual CPC. We've managed to increase conversions using manual CPC. So definitely, manual CPC is not like some strategy that's just like, oh, if you're a brand newbie and you don't want to scale, then use manual CPC. There are a lot of applications for manual CPC. So if you want full control over your cost per lead, which is important, use manual CPC. And I will say this one thing. It is about your cost per lead. It is not about how much you're paying per click. A lot of business owners get obsessed with this. They think that, oh, if I'm paying $25 per click, that's too much. I need to pay less. I don't really care. I care about your cost per lead. That is what we're working with. And that is what you should be aiming for. Not to pay the lowest click, but to pay the market-related click so that you can have affordable leads, so that you can run your business and grow it. That's basically all that this is a tool for. So I'll give you two examples. Let's say a law firm comes to me and they say to me, hey, Devon, we're thinking about spending $30,000 per month on ads. We're a personal injury law firm. And what we want to do is we want to use manual CPC because we think it's a great way to control our cost per lead. We've already got a website. It's already converting. We already know what our conversion rate is. Our ads are already working. I would think it's a terrible idea for them to use manual CPC because they're already getting the data in. They already know what works. There's already data to feed the AI for Google Ads with. So, terrible idea. Do not use manual CPC. We can use maximize conversions or we can use target CPA and we can get you affordable leads that way. Okay? That's one scenario. They're spending $30,000. Second scenario, law firm comes in. They've never had Google Ads before. They don't know how it works and they only want to spend $3,000 because they want to try it out and see if it maybe gets them a lead. They don't know if their website converts. In that case, because I have so little budget to work with, I'm going to go manual CPC all the way. Number one, because I don't know what the market is paying for clicks, right? And number two, with personal injury lawyers, they could pay $350, $450, sometimes $600 per click. So imagine getting like 7 clicks and then your whole budget is gone. That's not going to be a nice meeting between me and the client. So what I would do in that situation is take the client on, go manual CPC, and then I would put their average cost per click or their max CPCs at $150 and slowly raise it over time until I figure out more or less what the lawyers around them are willing to pay, and then go back to the client and have a discussion around that. So there are different use cases, like I said. The second advantage of using manual CPC is you can survive lean months in your business. Every single business has times when your ads just aren't working. You're spending more, you're not really getting any leads in, and you want to make sure that you stay competitive, but you don't want to blow your budget because you just don't have the money to pay Google at the end of the month if it doesn't work out. That's where Manual CPC comes in clutch. We've had some clients where they're going through a difficult time. We start them off on Manual CPC, and eventually, once the difficult time is done, it's fine. We move them on to other bidding strategies once their business starts to grow again. So it is a great bidding strategy for survival. So let's talk about the gray area. So let's say you are spending $40,000, $80,000, a lot of money on Google Ads per month. And you're seeing those diminishing returns. You're seeing your leads get more expensive. There still could be a use case for Manual CPC, even for you. Two people that I respect the most in the Google Ads space, John Morant and Pamela Wagner. She's an ex-Google Ads employee. And I keep on wanting to say John Morant, but that's a basketball player. John Morant is one of the leading Google Ads experts. He goes and he spends a shit ton of money on ads in this account. And when he does, the cost per lead is X. And then what he does is he switches off his conversion tracking. And all of a sudden, his cost per lead drops, right? The video is there for everybody to see. If you want me to send it to you, just ask it. I'll send it in the video below, or I'll link it in the video below. And Pamela Wagner, who has also worked for Google, has said the same thing, that she still uses Manual CPC because Manual CPC does not send any conversion data to Google. We know that Google looks at how much you're paying for your cost per lead. And we know that they want to start charging businesses according to their cost per lead. So you think about this. What if you're really good at running Google Ads and you can get leads for $5, okay? But the product you sell is actually $5,000. What Google Ads wants to do is they want to raise that price and say, no, you can't have the cheap leads. You can't have the $5 leads anymore because you're making too much money. We're going to charge you $500 per lead because you're making $5,000 in value. That is a very strong case for using Manual CPC, because when you use Manual CPC, although you still have to put your conversion data in and everything like that, they don't have control over how much, they can't price gouge you basically. So that is the gray area. Now, it is a little bit of a radical strategy, but I've seen it work. And I've seen it work with big accounts as well. But take it with a grain of salt. Experiment where you want to experiment. But these are all of the things that I'm seeing. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope it clarified a lot of things to do with Manual CPC. If you'd like me to have a look at your ads, obviously links are in the description below. I've also got lots of videos about Manual CPC, how to implement it into your business, and I'll link a few here. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.